Imagine a world plunged into darkness, where one wrong word could cost you your life. Now picture a young Polish woman, armed with little more than courage and a fierce determination, who decided to fight back. This is the story of Irina Sendler, a name you might not know, but one you will never forget. In the heart of Nazi-occupied Warsaw, as the city was being systematically crushed, Irina was a social worker. She saw the escalating horror, particularly within the Warsaw Ghetto, where nearly 500,000 Jewish people were imprisoned, starved, and left to face an unthinkable fate. Most people looked away, paralyzed by fear. But Irina Sendler looked closer. She knew she couldn't stand by and do nothing. Her conscience simply wouldn't allow it. Her official job gave her a special permit to enter the ghetto to inspect sanitary conditions. This pass became her golden ticket, her key to mounting one of the most audacious rescue operations of the entire war. With a small, trusted network of equally brave individuals, she began her mission. She wasn't a soldier with a gun. Her weapons were wit, compassion, and an unshakable belief in the value of every single life. They started by smuggling out medicine, food, and money. But as the situation grew more desperate, Irina knew they had to do more. They had to smuggle people out, and the most vulnerable were the children. This was a decision that weighed heavily on her. How do you ask a parent to part with their child, perhaps forever, for only a slim chance of survival? The conversations were heart-wrenching. Mothers and fathers, faced with an impossible choice, had to trust this relative stranger with their most precious treasure. Irina and her network, operating under the codename Jolanta, became masters of deception. They used every method imaginable to get children out of the ghetto. Some were drugged and hidden in coffins or potato sacks, carried out right under the noses of the guards. Others were smuggled through the city's labyrinthine sewer system, a dark, terrifying journey to an unknown freedom. Ambulances would race out of the ghetto, supposedly carrying patients, but secretly hiding small children under the stretchers. They even used an old courthouse that had an entrance from the ghetto and an exit to the Aryan side of the city. Every rescue was a high-stakes gamble, where one suspicious glance, one unexpected search, could mean death for everyone involved. But saving the children was only half the battle. Once outside the ghetto walls, they were still in immense danger. They needed new identities, safe houses, and families willing to risk their own lives to hide them. Irina meticulously created false documents for each child. She then placed them in Polish homes, convents, and orphanages. It was a constant, nerve-wracking shuffle to keep them one step ahead of the Gestapo. And here is where her foresight was truly remarkable. Irina wasn't just saving lives. She was preserving identities. For every child she rescued, she wrote down their original Jewish name and their new Polish name on a tiny slip of paper. She hoped that one day, when the war was over, she could reunite these children with their families, or at least give them back their history, their heritage. She couldn't risk carrying this list on her person. So, where did she hide this precious record? She buried it in glass jars under an apple tree in a friend's backyard. A simple, almost poetic act of defiance, preserving futures in the earth. Of course, this level of resistance could not go unnoticed forever. In October 1943, the inevitable happened. The Gestapo came for her. They had been tipped off. Irina was arrested and taken to the infamous Pauiak prison, a place from which few returned. There, she was brutally interrogated and tortured. They broke her feet and legs, but they could not break her spirit. Despite the unimaginable pain, she refused to betray her network. She gave up no names, no locations. The secrets of the children and their protectors remained safe with her. Sentenced to death, her fate seemed sealed. But her friends in the underground hadn't forgotten her. On the day of her scheduled execution, they managed to bribe a guard. As her name was called, the guard helped her escape. Officially, she was listed as executed. Her name appeared on public bulletins. For the rest of the war, Irina Sendler was a ghost, living in hiding but continuing her work in secret. a dead woman walking who was still saving lives. When the war finally ended, the first thing Irina did was go back to that apple tree. She dug up the jars. That fragile list contained the names of over 2,500 children she had helped save. 2,500 lives. 2,500 futures. Sadly, most of their parents had perished, making her records the only link these children had to their past. For decades after the war, Irina's story was largely unknown outside of Poland. The communist regime didn't celebrate wartime heroes associated with the Polish Home Army. She lived a quiet life as a mother and a social worker, never seeking recognition for her extraordinary bravery. She simply believed it was the right thing to do. As she later said, "Every child saved with my help is the justification of my existence on this earth, and not a title to glory." It wasn't until the late 1990s that her story came to light on the world stage, thanks to a group of high school students from Kansas. They were working on a history project and stumbled upon a brief mention of her. Intrigued, they dug deeper, eventually contacting Irina herself and writing a play about her life called Life in a Jar. Their project brought Irina Sendler the international recognition she had long deserved. In her final years, she was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize and honored by nations around the world. Irina Sendler's story is more than just a history lesson. It's a powerful testament to the fact that one person, driven by compassion and courage, can make a profound difference even in the face of overwhelming evil. It reminds us that we all have a choice, to be a bystander or to stand up for what is right. Her legacy isn't just in the 2,500 lives she saved, but in the countless people she continues to inspire. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible story. If you were moved by Irina's bravery, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of hidden heroes from history. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.